All right, so quick recap. About 3 weeks ago, we decided to go back to the basics. We have a lot of new wholesalers, connectors, private money lenders, gators, real estate agents, that have joined Built and have just been trying to get into real estate in general. There's been a lot of bad deals, a lot of people struggling to get deals. These skills are, of course, necessary and crucial for, any one of you guys to be successful. We've covered so far comping, underwriting, and of course, rehab estimation. If you haven't seen those, go ahead and watch them. They're on my YouTube channel. What we're going to be covering today, of course, is going to be offers. So, an offer, of course, is a letter of intent to purchase. Whether you plan on wholesaling it, acquiring it for yourself to add to your portfolio, or whatever, you need some sort of way to communicate that with, let's say, a seller, an agent, a wholesaler, so forth. Okay. As always, the resources that you'll see in this particular Zoom session will be provided to you guys. You have access to it all. If you need something, reach out. Okay. Doesn't matter if you're a part of Built or not. If you're watching this somewhere else, replay, just reach out. We'll get you all the tools you need. Of course, we're going to be focusing mainly on single family and cash deals / hard money. We're not going to be talking about creative finance deals today. Again, we're going back to the basics. If you have a particular deal and you want us to look at it, you're more than welcome to bring it to the table and we'll kind of go through it together. Nonetheless, so does anybody in here, well, first off, has anybody in here not shot an offer before on a property? I know we have everybody's still joining right now. Okay, so you haven't shot an offer yet. Anybody else? Well, why not? Because all it takes is to send an email. All it takes is to make a phone call to an agent, to a wholesaler, to a seller, and pitch an offer. You're not going to get deals unless you make offers, plain and simple. So, what are the let's go over the main components of an offer real quick before we deep dive into how to send an offer and so forth. Anybody have an idea of some of the components that need to be in an offer to make it legit, to make it seem like you know what you're doing? But I'm going to go over a few of them. Okay. And if you see like there's something that you want to add to it, let me know. But realistically, an offer really contains 9 components. Okay. You can write these down. You can rewatch this. I'll give you examples of an actual email. I'll deep dive into some charts as well and some graphics so you guys can get a better idea as well. So, the 9 components of an offer. The very first one, which is the obvious, of course, is what you're pitching them as far as like the offer, the purchase price. Okay. Second one, you're going to be, yes, as always, there'll be a recording on the YouTube channel. Second one's going to be financing. Okay. Whether you're using cash, hard money, any other type of lender, so forth. Right. You want to let them know how you're financing the deal. Doesn't matter if you're talking to an agent or a wholesaler or a seller. It does not matter. You want to notify them how you are going to acquire this. It's okay if you're wholesaling. You could just mention cash or hard money. Third one's going to be your vesting company. Whose name is actually going to be on the contract if they accept your offer. Okay. And I know a lot of people that, change LLCs at the time of purchasing. So that's fine. You can just put any company name there at that point. And you could put and or assigns if necessary. A lot of people are skeptical of that right now at the moment because a lot of wholesalers are ruining our reputation. But if you're going to put and or assigns, just, kind of clarify that with them that you're going to buy it with a different LLC at the end. Number 4 is going to be the inspection period. Okay. Now, depending what market you're in, depending on what your strategy is, you might have a shorter inspection period, you might have a longer inspection period. By default, if you're wholesaling, you might do something like 2 weeks or 15 days. You try to maximize that as long as possible because that gives you enough time to dispo a deal. Number 5 is going to be EMD. Okay, whether that's the amount and also the deadline. Okay. EMD is what your earnest money deposit. If you're in a place like Texas, you might have an option fee you want to add as well. Okay. Other states might have that as well too. So make sure you include that. Now, deadline for EMD, most people want to see EMD in as soon as possible. So what does that mean? Typically within 3 business days. Okay. Some might want it in there within 24 hours. That's more of a negotiation thing of your offer. If you want to get a deal, you can probably tell them you'll have it in there within 24 hours. It's a better chance of you getting an offer accepted. Number 6 is going to be closing company, title company, attorney, whichever is in your state. You want to mention that. Now, if you're dealing with an agent, typically they're going to want to use their own preferred title company because agents and sellers that deal with agents typically pay for their closing costs. Now, if let's say there's an agent involved and there's a seller that's paying for closing costs, maybe that's an incentive for you to buy the deal and pay the closing costs on their behalf. In that case, you can, of course, tell them that at that point. Number 7 is going to be who's paying commissions if there's an agent involved, okay, or a wholesaler involved. All right, who's paying those commissions? Is it you as the buyer, as the wholesaler? Is it the seller? Who is paying those? Number 8 is going to be the expected close of escrow date. So when you closing the property, is it going to be in 30 days, 45 days, 20 days? When do you expect to close on that property? Typically, you would contact your lender if you're acquiring it yourself. Why? Because if you put a wrong date and you don't communicate with your lender and you're trying to acquire the deal, what will typically happen is you're going to be delinquent because you gave false hope, right, of a close date. So just make sure you know exactly what your strategy is. If you're wholesaling, typically we do a 20-day or a 30-day close, assuming that somebody has a hard money lender that can close as soon as possible for, let's say, they're flipping it, or maybe they're buying it as a rental, a DSCR, and so forth. And then lastly, you're going to need proof of funds attached. Okay, so those are the 9 components. Who in here does not have a proof of funds? Because it's very simple to get or easy to modify, and there's other people that provide them. People give them out for free. There's proof of funds is necessary when you're submitting an offer. If you submit an offer without a proof of funds, that's just going to be an objection. Whether it's an agent or a seller or a wholesaler, they're going to be like, well, where's your proof of funds? So you might as well send it with the offer at the same time. Now, of course, as I mentioned, I'm going to give examples of what an offer should look like. So you can, of course, copy it and modify it to your standards. But here's the thing. Sending out an offer is not going to get you a deal right away. Okay, you're going to need to follow up on those offers. And, luckily, we've built the systems necessary to be able to do that. But of course, you can do it manually. However, our systems are going to be able to send offers automatically, and they're going to follow up on autopilot. So a lot of you guys already have built. That's why you're in the built community. If you have it, you already have access to it, then you already know how to use it, or maybe you don't. Okay, we're going to walk through that as well a little bit later. If you have any GHL accounts, if you're using someone else's CRM that's not built, just reach out. We'll give you a copy for free. It's not a problem. But anyways, let's deep dive into how the offers work, now the follow-ups work. And then you guys have any questions, just to stop me. So real quick, before we get into something, to kind of give you an idea of what an offer should look like. So this is a typical email offer. It is a test, so you can copy this. But basically, right here, you're giving, and this one's particular to, I think this one was an MLS deal. Okay, if you're gonna do it to a seller, you're probably gonna do it on the phone. Okay, you might send them an email version, you might not, but let's at least go over the basics one more time to make sure that we're on point. So notice here you have the purchase price, you have the financing, you have the vesting company, the inspection period, EMD, closing and title company, realtor commissions, who's paying it, close of escrow, and proof of funds attached. So it's a very simple template that you can copy and create it in a template inside of your email. Okay. You don't have to have systems to do this. Okay. Systems help, but it's not a necessity. Okay. If you want to get started right away, the easiest way to get a deal is to work on an active deal. What's an active deal? Probably an MLS deal or a wholesale deal. So using a template like this will ultimately get you closer to getting a deal. Okay. Now, when you look at this, what do you understand? Well, the purchase price is $1 million for this particular property. We know what property we're targeting because it says offer to purchase at the top and gives the address. Now, notice the financing says cash/hard money loan. Well, typically we do that when we're doing fix and flips or wholesale. Vesting company, this is just taking a copy of the name of the account, but built client temp. In this situation, inspection period 15 days, EMD deadline 3 days with a $10,000 EMD, closing company, veterans title, or the seller's choice if they choose to pay. Realtor commissions, the seller, of course, is going to pay them. Close of escrow, 30 days. And, of course, attach a proof of funds. Now, let's actually see how this works, okay? Because I mentioned before that follow-ups are the most important factor of things. If you're not following up, no matter how many offers you send out, there are going to be a bunch that just, the person, the agent, the wholesaler just doesn't see, they don't respond to it, and you lose out on deals, okay? So I like to have a simple follow-up system when we're making offers, okay? Direct to seller is going to be completely different. We'll talk about that in a second, but this is like wholesalers, agents, people you've built relationships with, on-market deals. If you're going to send them an email, you typically want some sort of follow-up sequence. So you're going to make an offer. Well, you're going to have two scenarios. Number one, they're going to reply. Number two, you're not going to get a reply. If they are going to reply, it's going to be either A, positive or negative. Negative meaning they rejected your offer. Positive means you close the deal. There's no need to really pay attention to this pipeline. But if they gave no reply, we want to be able to follow up with them with some sort of reminder. If, let's say, they still didn't reply, well, we want to give them maybe a discount. A discount for them, but in our case, we're losing money, right? Let's say we're signing a deal of $20,000. Okay, we know we're going to make $20,000 on assignment. Well, if we can't get the deal, we might as well discount it a bit, maybe make $10,000 on assignment, but that increases the purchase price for the seller, and therefore they make more money. Are we okay with sacrificing that? Yes. Okay. Move on to the next stage. You send them a discount offer, which is basically the same offer that you saw here. The only difference is it'll mention that here we're discounting our offer. Now, again, if they don't see it, we want to give them a final reminder. At this point, it's really like if you send this many emails with an offer and an agent still hasn't replied, I suggest you call them, text them, do something to get a hold of them at that point. Because the whole goal is for them to either A, reject you, or B, to close a deal. Okay. Now, let's say they replied and they rejected you. Well, if you have not given a discount, we'll give so one now, because what else are you going to do? You want to get this deal, right? You'll lose a little bit on your assignment fee. You'll lose a little bit on your flip. You'll lose a little bit on your cash flow, whatever it may be, so be it. But you want to offer them some sort of discount. And again, you'll follow up with them afterwards. If you gave a discount and they still rejected you, well, most likely it's not a deal for you, unless you're willing to sacrifice more. So at that point, just keep in mind, follow up with them in like 30 days. If you want to follow up with them every 2 weeks, that's perfectly fine as well. But just have some sort of consistent plan where you can kind of keep track of things and you know you're going to be able to follow up with them. You can do this on a spreadsheet. Okay. There's plenty of ways to do it on a spreadsheet. In fact, here, let's open up one. Let's just open up one right here and kind of see how it is. You can send them an offer. Oops. You can send them an offer. You can follow up. You can give them a second offer. At that point, this is a lot more manual. You're not really going to know when you got to follow up on something because it doesn't notify you. This is why we use systems. Now, again, this is more for like, let's say, email offers. If you're talking to a seller, on the other hand, right? Let's say you're talking to a seller and you're reaching out to them. Okay. Well, typically, you're going to process that seller before you make an offer call. On an offer call, it's really just understanding their situation, right? And reflecting it back at them. You're shooting it back at them. As Pace would say, you're going to shoot them with bullets, right? But you're going to come into the same situation. You're going to have a positive response. You're going to have a negative response. Positive, you close the deal. Negative, well, why was it negative? Okay. Was the price too low? Was the time frame not adequate for them? Where they, they just don't think you're credible enough? What's the reason, right? Is there somebody else that needs to get on that call with them, right, to make a decision maker? And so what is the case? At that point in time, it's a really good option. If I were you guys and you use systems, you might as well send them some sort of follow-up email right after the offer, even though they declined, showing your credibility. Give them a testimonial, give them something, but you can automate this, okay? So you're not manually sending out an email or manually sending out a text of what's going on. The same thing goes with anything else, whether it's price, you might want to follow up with them in a certain period of time, or discount it. If it's time is an issue, well, put that time in your calendar and follow up with it. If you're just using a spreadsheet like this one, it makes it difficult, okay? You might be able to enter a time in here, but how do you know when you need to follow up with them? You're going to put it on your Google Calendar. You can do that, okay? But I suggest if you're not using systems, to organize yourself as much as possible. A notebook is not going to work, by the way. Most people lose deals because of what? Because of follow-up. You can have the greatest offer in the world, but if the seller did not see your offer or hear your offer, the agent did not see your offer, then so be it. You're not going to get the deal. So what do we need to do to get a deal from somebody if they haven't seen your offer? You need to follow up. You need to call them. You need to text them. You need to leave them a voicemail. You need to do something to get their attention. Okay, so that's just a basic idea of how the follow-ups work. I'm actually going to show you guys an actual example inside the system, because a lot of you guys already have these systems, whether it's a GHL account or it's some sort of account from us, from Built. So we're going to actually deep dive into that. Again, if you don't have Built, but you have a GHL account, just reach out. We'll send it to you for free. But anyways, let's give an example, because I think we have a few deals we were working on before. Let me actually pull that up. So we worked on a couple deals in the last 3 Zooms, okay, for example purposes. Again, this is going to be example purpose, but I want to show you guys how the offer system works so you get an idea and how you can kind of take advantage of it. So just give me 1 second while I pull this up. For those of you that don't have the resources yet, here, I'll put it in the chat. But basically, the resources are under the free resource section. You can pull that up and use them. They're free. All right, so let's see. Calculators. We have. All right, cool. Found it. So we worked on 2 deals last week. Was it the Shore Acres Boulevard and the 730 50th Avenue? So I'm going to show you guys how we do it in the system for follow-ups. Now, again, I'm just using a demo account for this sake, but let's do this. Okay, let's say you had a deal. Let's actually pull up a deal. I'm going to send this to myself, but let's do this. Let's say we have this property right here, 1861 Shore Acres Boulevard. Okay. And we created this as a new property. What's going to happen is you have a new property. You're going to evaluate that property. You're going to figure out what your, ARV is, what your rehab is on that property, all that stuff. Well, luckily we've already done that. So we already have all the details. We just need to put it in. Okay. Now, whether this is a good deal or not, whether the comps are accurate or not, just take this into consideration, and you want to do your due diligence on these properties. But let's open up this property. Okay. So we have a bunch of property fields in here. I'm going to go over more towards where the offer is. So this is a property that we're probably going to make an offer at $250,000. They're asking about $319, so we're not too far away. We'll say we're at 80% offer strength, which is pretty damn good. You're not going to find deals like that so often. But anyways, so if I'm going to make an offer at $250,000, and this is an all market deal, typically an agent is going to want 1%, okay, as an EMD. So in this case, let's just say 2,500 is our EMD. Well, we know what offer we're going to make. 256,857 is our purchase price. And let's say if we wanted to give a discount on this, well, how much are we making currently on assignment? Let's say we're making 10 grand. Well, am I okay with losing 3 grand on this deal? I am. So what I'll do is we'll say we'll lower this by $3,000. We use the same thing, we'll just lower it. This is where the automatic discount automations kind of take into consideration. Having these in here are really, really important for automation purposes. Again, this is just how our system works. But just to kind of give you an idea, let's just keep it at that. Now, there's a bunch of other things in here, right? We can always fill this stuff in. Our 4 pillars, everything about the details of the property. We're not going to look at that right now. Again, we're just going to see how the offer system works. So again, this is a property. Before you make an offer, what are you going to do? You're going to call, you're going to process, you're going to confirm rehab, you're going to confirm motivation, urgency with that agent, that seller, that wholesaler, whatever, right? You want to make sure everything's good at that point. You're going to process them. So the nice thing about this system right here is if I switch this over right here, in 3 minutes, this gives you three minutes to process and edit anything you have in here so that the offer will populate correctly. Okay. So right now we should be getting an offer with these conditions. Of course, you can modify your templates, you can do whatever, but like you're going to see how this shoots out in the next 3 minutes. Okay. But while this is going, let's pull up another property that we have. So let's see 2 deals in action. To kind of give an idea. So again, I'm just going to use me. So we're not sending an agent a deal that doesn't make sense. And this one's probably a lot tougher. So we definitely won't get this deal. So this one is going to be 730 50th Avenue that we comped and underwrote and found out the rehab condition of already. We're going to add that in. We're going to create it. Now, if you're already working on deals and you already have them in the pipeline, you don't have to add them in. Okay. But this is just because it's an all market deal. But okay. Let's make sure this is, I think we made it disappear. Oh well. But let's check this out. So we sent this contact an email, right? We sent them an offer. Well, how does it look when they actually receive the offer? So let's take a look at this. Let's deep dive into what actually gets sent out. So, and this is where you can kind of edit your offer, and you can, of course, modify your timelines. You can modify your EMD. You can modify your company and your proof of funds. So like to kind of give you an idea of how it populates, it's right here. So if I were to open this up and we were to inspect it, of course, what link do I have in here? It's a Google Drive link. What does our proof of funds look like? Okay. Now, granted, this is for our company. You're going to be able to have to change that, of course, whatever dollar amounts your hard money lender gives you, and so forth. To get a proof of funds is easy. Okay, just reach out to any type of lender. They'll give you one. You can use your own bank account. You can use whatever. So again, we'll have the period 15 days. We're going to have 3-day inspection. Notice how it takes variables for our EMD, our purchase price, the contact name of who the agent is, the vesting company, which company is actually going to be doing it, and of course you have 30 days of escrow. So you can modify this, you can do what you need to do, but let's see what it actually looks like. Oh, you know what's funny? This is not even published. My bad, guys. Let me actually publish this. Sorry, we're on a demo account. That's what happens. So let's go back to our opportunities and let's push these things back. Now let's switch them over. And I'm going to push this forward so you guys can see the outcome right now. So MLS, email. And we don't want these guys to wait. We'll just push them through. All right. So if I go back to the opportunities, you'll notice that automatically they're going to send offers. Okay. So let's say I click on this person and I go check out their contact and the conversation that's going on with that deal. You're going to see that they got sent an email offer with the property address, with the specific terms and conditions that we just specified in that template, along with the variables that we assigned. So not sure why we're getting an error, but nonetheless. So, hey Mo, purchase price $1 million. Same exact terms that we had before, automatically. Notice the signature. It takes your name, it takes your company's name, it takes your phone number, it takes whatever website you have, whatever your signature is that you have in your settings for your account, it'll automatically populate it. Okay. Now, notice how it automatically gave us variables in here. Let's check it out because we sent another one as well. Let's pull up the other deal that we're working on. Does it cost money to send out email? It's like 0.000 something. It's barely. I believe you can send out 10,000 emails with like, I don't know, $5. So like I wouldn't really worry about that too much. Yeah, email is like the cheapest thing in the world. But anyways, so you can do this in Gmail. If you don't want to use systems, you're more than welcome to use it in any one of your email accounts. But this is just to kind of give you guys an idea of what it looks like. Let's see, conversations, all. Oh, here we go. So here's the other property as well. The $256,000, the $2,500 in EMD, automatically populated. Okay. Now here's the fun part. If they don't respond to this, or if they do respond, first off, it'll automatically be shown in attention, automatically through automations. Okay. If they don't respond to your initial email, well, it's going to be thrown into the offer follow-up automatically. Notice how it says auto. If, again, they don't respond, it'll be shown in the discount section. Again, if they don't respond, it'll be your third follow-up. Okay, follow-up on the discount. If the deal got rejected, well, again, you can decide at that point in time to put it through a discount, right? Or, and actually what it does is if it hasn't already been through the discount, it'll automatically give them the discount. Unless it already has. And if it hasn't already, it'll end up going back to attention. At that point, you make a decision what you want to do. Can this be more elaborate? Yes, it can. Okay. Can it be simpler? Yes, it can. Does it have to be this automated? No, it does not. Okay. And again, if they don't respond to any one of your offers and follow-ups, It'll end up showing right here for no response. This is where you're going to call them. You're going to text them. You're going to email them a different way. You're going to send them a voicemail. You're going to do what you need to do to get them on the phone to see your offer. So this is how you're going to be able to send offers on autopilot. Okay. Now, again, this is just an example, right? If I were to reply on here, let's reply on something. Let's see if it'll go through from here. Because I did get them in my emails. So we'll just reply test and see what happens. The most important thing you guys need to realize is offers are still only one part. Just like a lead, right? If you call a lead, let's say you got a hot, very hot lead that came to you and they're ready to sell. Well, what's going to happen if, they reach out to you and you don't answer them, right? What's going to happen if you try calling them once or twice and they didn't pick up? Well, somebody else is going to get the deal over you. If you don't follow up with these people and be consistent, then they're going to think that you're just some pushover and they can just ignore you. Okay. The whole point of having a proper follow-up is to stop deals falling through the crack. Okay. So here, we replied to one of the offers with a test. You get it right away. What did happen in our opportunities? Where did it go? Okay. We want to make sure that everything's working correctly. I think I have all my automations turned off though. Let's see. Yeah, I got everything in draft, but let's go ahead and publish these. So you guys can see how it works. We'll just do another test. Does this help you guys to send more offers? Sometimes, I'm glad to hear that. Sometimes I feel like, I just keep going on, and people don't catch up. So awesome. Well, I'm glad you guys are getting some sort of value from this. So let's go back to this and let's see what happens. So I sent another test now that our automations are actually on. Well, what happens to the property? Well, you saw it right here, right? It just automatically moved to the attention. Okay. That's the power of automation. So if you are just working on a Google spreadsheet and someone replies to you, sure, you can go to your email. Do you have email templates for direct to seller marketing campaigns? So yes, the same. So here's the thing, right? The email template's the same. Most of the time with sellers, you're not actually sending them an email unless they ask for it. And even then, I still most of the time won't even send them an offer because they just want to shop you around. With sellers, you want to be able to handle objections and give them an offer over the phone and also send a contract over the phone or maybe do it in person. Okay, that's even better. Most of the time, that's not the case for all of us that like to be virtual nomads. So over the phone is where you give your offer. Do we have a template script for how to make an offer over the phone? Yes, we do. Okay. If in that link I sent in the chat, I'll put it one more time because we got more people in here. All of our scripts are in there, right? Everything that we use that we know is successful, we use on repetition, is inside there, right? Like education should be free, guys. That exactly how to do it, with the resources you need. Like, don't hesitate. There should be no barriers to entry. Okay. If you need something, just ask. If I don't have it, I'll get it for you. Okay. So there's all the resources again in the chat. Does that answer your question, Kathy? Cool. All right. So, does everybody in here know how to make an offer now? Does that seem simple enough? Cool. All right. I want to bring something up because there's a lot of, again, there's a lot of beginners in here, right? And offers is one thing, right? We have a lot of um new people, right? We have a lot of people who are trying to get into real estate. Some of you guys have been in mentorships like Sub 2, Astro, whatever, for a long time and still haven't gotten deals. Okay. In fact, I get questions like this all the time. Okay. And some of these things are really simple, some of them are not. But here's the thing, things are simple when you know how to do it. When you don't know how to do it, it becomes very difficult. Okay. So this is most people, right? Where do I start? What do I choose on market, off market? Should I do wholesale? Should I, acquire? What do I need as far as resources? How do I build relationships? So forth, right? There's a lot of questions when it comes to, a beginner that comes in. Where do you start? Right? So like we have communities, whether it's built, whether it's sub 2, whether it's Astro, whether it's just a creative finance group, right? You have the ability to get all the answers. The reality is we're just too hesitant to ask them. Okay? Who in here has been in a position where they had a question and they hesitated to ask? And then why? Why did you hesitate? So, one thing you'll notice is all the most successful people just ask for what they need. And if someone tells them no, they just go to the next person, right? So, a lot of you guys want to build and use these systems. A lot of you guys want to build a team. A lot of you guys want to make more offers. But you got to still know the basics, right? This is why we're creating the basic Zoom right now. We're talking about deal basics. We're talking about every little detail. No problem. Appreciate that. So we're going over every little detail to make sure you guys know what you guys need to do to be successful. Okay. And if I don't provide enough information, let me know. Right? Tell me to deep dive. Because we can talk about offers, all day long. But if you can't look for a deal and you can't evaluate that deal, you can't underwrite that deal, you can't understand the rehab estimation of that deal, well, what's the point of sending an offer? You're going to send a bad offer, you'll get a bad offer accepted, and the next thing you know, you can't move that deal, you buy a bad deal. Plenty of people, it's happened to. We have, hell, I have private money lenders that buy bad deals, right? That are my lenders, and then they go and buy another deal that they think they're going to flip, or they think they're going to start, or they're going to buy a multifamily deal, and they don't know how to underwrite it. I don't care if you're a gator, a connector, a private money lender, a wholesaler, fix and flipper, anything. It doesn't really matter, right? Because at the end of the day, it's you that needs to really understand how to do a deal. Okay. And these people that will fund your deals, that'll work with you on your deals, that will JV with you and assign you deals, well, you need to understand if it's a good deal. And if you are one of those, you need to understand what's a good deal, because a lot of people will just basically tell you to fuck off, if you don't know what you're doing. Luckily, we're not those kind of people, right? But there is a lot of people like that. And so we're going to send offers. You're going to send bad offers. You're going to send great offers, and people are not going to see it. What do we need to do to get our offers seen? We need to follow up, right? If you're needing a system, okay, and you're struggling to get one, just reach out. We'll get you a discount, right? Whether you're sub 2 or not. The whole goal is to make sure everybody has something that they can be successful and do more deals. Okay. This is not some sort of sales pitch, right? Like people in sub 2 already know. Okay. But anyways, does anybody have any questions right now or any deals they want to bring to the table? Okay. I know my Zooms aren't 5 hours long like other people. Okay. I like to keep them nice, simple, straight to the point, sweet, hopefully. Um, and gives you exactly what you need in a timely manner so you can go on to doing other things. Okay. Um, do you have templates, follow up text messages? So we do. Everything's actually in. Do you, Kyle, do you have our system ready? Cool. So the template's already built in those systems. You can modify them, you can edit them, right? Just make sure you're compliant if you plan on using text messages. Okay. But yeah, in regards to all the scripts, everything that you need, it's in the Google Drives that I have that I just sent you guys earlier. Everything is in there. You're welcome. Don't hesitate, guys. Ask up. Ask what you need. Cool. So next week, we're going to go over some paperwork. Okay. Again, we're talking about deal basics here, so we're not going over creative finance documents, but we're going to go over wholesale contracts, regular purchase and sale contracts when it comes to, cash deals, hard money, DSCR, whatever. We're going to go over deals that you guys will have these templates. You guys already have access to them, but going over, we're going to explain them. We're going to go through them. I'll show you how to upload it in the system as well. If you have the system, okay, if you have built, we'll show you how to upload it in there so you can actually make it automated. Okay. Everything can be automated. If you talk to a seller, or you talk to a wholesaler, and let's say you have JV agreements, assignment contracts, whatever, you have the ability of using the system for automation. Again, notice how I switched the pipeline and it automatically sent an email. Well, you can switch the pipeline and automatically send them a DocuSign. It's that simple. Okay. The whole goal here, again, is to make things more efficient for you guys. Even if you're a beginner, right? You need to be able to know the paperwork. Okay. And then, of course, after that, the next session after that, of course, will be focused on more of the financing aspect of things, like actually talking about hard money, private money, creative finance deals, like how to structure, different financing strategies. Anybody have any questions before we hop off tonight? Can we delegate the task to a VA? Absolutely, you can. So in your system, you can have as many people in it without limitation, right? If you want to hire 100 commission only, people working in your company, you can. Okay. They can use these systems. You just give them access to whatever you need. All right. What else we got?
Well, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
It's just easier than typing. So I was gonna ask you, say that if you have a deal,
Yeah.
can you just show us how to put that into the system, so the beginning process? And this is the first Zoom that I'm on.
So
How you put that in the system?
so you let's say you found a deal online on the MLS or a wholesaler gave it to you.
Yeah, so I'm saying just make it easy on MLS.
Okay. So it's basically what I just did earlier. So here let's delete some of these examples so we can get a clear picture.
For some reason, the screen is kind of blurry.
It's blurry. Do you...
From my from
Can you guys see my screen when I screen share? And everybody else, can you guys see it fine?
You can see it, but it is blurry.
Oh man. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Here, I'll share a different way. I'll share through Zoom so you get a better okay. So let's share this. Can you see my screen now?
YouTube. video much better. It's
Okay.
blurry too.
This is blurry?
It's better than before. It's not blurry now. No.
Okay. But yeah, if you have a deal, then you have the system, you just click on the opportunity right here. Okay. You type in the address. Let's say it's, I don't know, 888 Main Street. Right?
Okay, so this part is manual. You have to type that in.
Well, that's if you find a deal that's not already in your system. If you're doing direct to seller, most likely you already have a list of properties. But if you're doing direct to agent or a wholesaler sends you a deal, any type of relationship deals, you have to type it in, of course. And then of course you would choose who that person is, right? That person. If you don't have them in the system, let's say it's Nancy Drew, right? And we don't have that contact, we literally just add them. We add their email. So nancy@gmail.com. You can add their phone number if you want to as well. And then you literally just hit create. You can assign it to yourself or any user that you have inside your system. And you can also put it in any stage. If you already evaluated it, if you already spoke to them, you can just stick it in that stage. For now, we're just going to put in new properties.
Is the stage section, is that defaulted or do you have to set that up?
What do you mean? The stages?
The stage,
These are already pre-built for you guys. You guys already have all this stuff pre-built.
oh, got it.
Yeah, your systems are pre-built.
So if we have a list, say that I have access to CoStar, I can generate a list from CoStar. Can I import this to this?
If you have a list from CoStar, so basically you're
Exactly.
exporting it to a CSV file and then importing it into Built, yes, you can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll
You-
actually how to do that.
Yeah, just I would highly suggest, especially if you're going to use any type of text messaging, to put your contacts through some sort of validation tool, like phonevalidator.com or something. Make sure your numbers are clean and they're not incorrect numbers.
Before you import it.
Yeah, like if you put a phone number in here that's incorrect and you try texting them, you'll get flagged. So just be careful with that. Clean your data. Like literally just go to phonevalidator.com, right, and use them. They're good.
Okay, so this is a
I mean, of course, it costs money. Nothing's free in this world. It's not my company. It's somebody else. But same thing. Like if you need any resources, guys, and you guys have access to the training center, right? So here's the training center. We have the preferred partners and resource list. So like that explains on what companies you probably want to use for, let's say, skip tracing, for validating and scrubbing phone numbers. Like that's phone validator right here, which I just showed you. Some of them we're affiliated with, some of them we're not, but we've at least used most of them, and we prefer certain people. So we're like,
you have to do one at a time.
no, you can do them in bulk. So they have bulk.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome. Anything else? Clear for me. I think it depends on the computer you're on. Okay, gotcha. Well, all right, guys. If we don't have anything else tonight, I appreciate you all for being here, as always. If you have anything at all, any questions that come to mind, just reach out to me. And if you're in need of a system or anything, or you know anybody that needs one, just send them my way. I'll help them out. So, appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. You're welcome. See you guys next time. See you next week.